last but not least, we have got Rhia waiting in the wings. Welcome, Rhia, to our Saturday morning event. How are you? You're on mute, sweetheart. I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go. How
Morning.
are you?
I'm really good. How are you? How's married life? Congratulations on the wedding.
Thank you. Thank you. It's good. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I am obviously back in the classroom now, so a little bit tired, but getting back into the swing and the habit of everything. So yeah.
Big changes professionally and personally this summer. Well, I'm looking forward to you as our last speaker at this event, Rhia, to tell everyone who's listening everything they need to know about Black Teachers Connect. So over to you for your 10 minutes. I'll be back to ask some questions at the end.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I have no slides today. I'm literally just going to talk from my heart. I've got a few notes on my screen. So my name is Rhia Gibbs. Now, Matumbo, I did recently get married a month ago. I'm an educator, a change maker, qualified change practitioner, an author, speaker, founder of Black Teachers Connect, and I'm currently head of social sciences at a South London girls' school. I did leave teaching 2 years ago to follow a career path into change management and develop my skills in change management. I am now back in the classroom where I absolutely want to be. So, Black Teachers Connect. If you haven't heard of Black Teachers Connect, we are an organization focusing on both the recruitment and retention of Black teachers. I started Black Teachers Connect in June 2018 when I was beginning to start my journey as a teacher and going into the teaching profession. And I wanted to speak to other Black teachers who, of course, were in the profession, who could give me advice on my application and what their days are really like. And I came to realize that I couldn't actually find that many to speak to. I spoke to about two, and I actually started to reflect on my own experience of schooling, my own experience with teachers, how many Black teachers I actually had. And I realized I only had about two across my whole school years and college years, but I recognized that they actually had the biggest impact on me. And because I had that lack of Black teachers to speak to, I wondered how many other people were also facing the same issue. And through that, I went to do my research, went onto the government website, had a look at some of the stats for Black teachers, and I discovered in 2018, 2% of Black teachers existed in the UK, and that is Black African, Black Caribbean, and those who define as Black other. For me, that was a super shocking statistic. I actually didn't realize going into teaching, I was going in as the minority. And that was something that I really wanted to reflect on. And so I started Black Teachers Connect with the hope that no other Black teacher would have the same type of start that I did. So they would have a network of teachers that they could draw on and speak to, and that they could have a community that was available to them. And so with that, I launched. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, do you know what? I just want to create a network for teachers. So I hopped onto Twitter at the time, which is now X, created a page, and I started from there. Started to speak to Black teachers, started to do online events. And then COVID came around and we were having more online events, and teachers were connecting and they were building relationships with one another. And in 2022, we had our first Black Teachers Conference, which was absolutely amazing. We had just over 100 teachers come out, and it was a really impactful event, but it also helped our teachers to recognize there is a community available to them and a community that is growing. So, our main focuses are around retention. The retention of teachers is super duper important. I actually put it before recruitment. We have a retention crisis here in the UK, but Black teachers are 5 times more likely to leave the profession quicker in comparison to their white colleagues. So we are more likely to leave in the first 5 years. I am one of those statistics, but I have gone back, and retention is super important. I don't believe that you can focus on recruitment without focusing on retention first, because if you're doing nothing to retain, there's no point focusing on your recruitment. Career growth and mentoring is super important to us. So we do have the mentorship scheme that we launched 3 years ago. Just recently, earlier this year, we had our mentorship brunch, and that was bringing together our mentors and mentees for just an afternoon of brunch and talking about their journeys and how things are going. And it really gives our teachers an opportunity just to connect, to to disconnect from the classroom, but also to just reflect on their own careers and their own growth. And one of the things that we are really focused on is job satisfaction. Teaching is a hard profession, and I never want to take that away from any of our teachers. But it is something that is super duper important to understand that you can get satisfaction from your job. Teaching is a service, it's a passion driven career. It's not something you can just do if you don't like children or you really don't like your job. It becomes very, very difficult. And something we want our teachers to do is to have satisfaction in their jobs. And that is by giving them opportunities to let their hair down, to be able to speak to other leaders and teachers and really grow in who they are, not just professionally, but personally. So, what has our impact been so far? We've managed to keep teachers in the system. Those who have wanted to leave, we've managed to keep them in by supporting them, helping teachers to map out their careers, so where they want to go forward, supporting teachers through disciplinaries or those who have been put on support plans in their school. In May 2024, we recently had an event in UCL. So we hosted about 40 Black teachers who came out just for a day of understanding how to grow in their careers, how to really own their careers, because this is the year I've said to our network that we don't want to focus on terms such as imposter syndrome or thinking that we're not supposed to be where we are. We're exactly where we are supposed to be, but it's time to kind of kick down those doors and own our careers and push things forward. Currently, I am supporting ECT teachers. So I've got a few early career teachers who are just entering into the classroom, might be struggling a little bit. I'm giving them one-to-one support. We're still mentoring Black teachers, providing safe spaces. And one of the things that we've been doing this year is supporting unqualified teachers to get a route into teaching to become qualified. A lot of Black teachers, if you don't know, some of them are working in schools as unqualified teachers, which means that they are doing the same workload as a qualified teacher, but they are earning on the unqualified teacher pay scale. If you have a moment after this call, go and have a look at the unqualified teacher pay scale. It is significantly lower than the main pay scale for qualified teachers here in the UK, in England and Wales. So it's really important for you to have a look at that. Going forward, we are making sure that our teachers are being supported. We're focusing on leadership and focusing on growth. I do want to do a quick shout out to the other organizations that we have worked with and that we will continue to work with. Everyone that you've heard from today has been a part of our journey, even though we started in 2018. Everyone has really supported us and we want to continue to support people. One of the biggest things about Black Teachers Connect is making sure that we are growing globally. So although we have teachers in our network here in the UK, we have teachers all over the world. So a lot of our teachers that we've connected with are based in the US, and a lot of the problems that we face are very similar. And so something we want to do is being able to bridge that gap and providing a massive network for people to have support and grow with one another in their careers. And so the impact it's had for me is the fact that I've stayed in teaching. I haven't, even though I've left and I've come back, that is what this network is about. It's about keeping people in this profession and allowing them the opportunity to thrive, not just survive, but grow in their careers and do exactly what they need to do. Being a Black woman in the system is not easy, but having this network and being able to connect with other people, get mentoring, get support has been super duper impactful. And so continue to follow us. If you want to connect with us, please connect with us on Instagram at Black Teachers Connect. You can drop us an email, blackteachersconnect@gmail.com, or you can sign up to our newsletter as well, where we do monthly updates on what we've got going on in the months coming up. So I do look forward to connecting with a lot of you. Please connect with me on LinkedIn at Rhia Marie Gibbs, and I look forward to seeing a lot of you soon.
Rhia, great way to close out today's event. And I think your link there to what Alana talked about, the supply teacher impact and the insecurity, lack of safety there, and what you talked about, retention issues, attrition rates, but also the experience of unqualified teachers and how so many global majority educators end up stuck in that kind of like space where they're really being paid to be a TA but being used as a teacher in schools. Go on.
It's exploitation. I don't want to, get really upset about it, but I see it as exploitation. I know teachers who have, as Alana did say, I know teachers who have come over from Jamaica, come over from the Caribbean, doing head of department roles, really kind of senior roles, middle leadership roles, and they're on the top, they're on the bottom end of the main pay scale, or they're even working as an unqualified teacher. So they are literally being exploited for their labor. And it's so important to equip people with the knowledge to know that this doesn't have to continue. And that is what is really important. It's about giving people the knowledge to understand that they can actually become a qualified teacher and earn more.
So is the argument that they haven't got QTS, so we're going to pay them less, but actually it's about how we support people who've been trained and qualified as teachers elsewhere in the world to get that QTS.
Yeah, exactly. And it is about them being able to understand that those opportunities are there. A lot of schools are great at trying to get their teachers qualified, but some will keep them at unqualified, because at the end of the day, money isn't in truckloads in schools. And so if you can pay teachers on an unqualified pay scale, it works in some schools' favors if they can.
Are there any skip providers or university PGC providers who are specifically tackling this piece and supporting those overseas trained teachers, do we know?
Not that I'm aware of, or not that I've been in contact with myself. So
something for us to think about, isn't it? A bit like Alana was talking about how these organisations today can influence recruiters and supply agencies. Actually, if we found some IT providers who were doing this or could do this and could support a group of global majority teachers to become qualified, that's going to rapidly diversify the representation of the workforce.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you for that. I love your quote. We are exactly where we are supposed to be. I think that's really affirming. Tell me a little bit more about how networking has impacted you on your journey as an educator.
So it's been super important for me. I remember I came into this profession super young. I came straight out of uni, and I think I don't want to say I shook up the education system a little bit, but I feel like I jumped in a little bit with my network, and I think people are a bit like, oh, like, you know, what is this that Rhia is actually doing? And I've had quite a few mentors. You know, Martha's been a great mentor for me. She took me under her wing as I was a really kind of young teacher, and she helped me to grow and helped me to understand what I want my career to look like. But also, I think people have supported me with my transition out of teaching, but my transition back in. So when I made the decision to leave, it was simply because I wanted a bit of a break. I wanted a break. I wanted to reflect on what I was doing, and I wanted to grow other skills. And I managed to do that in change management. I'm a qualified change management practitioner, but I also recognize that my purpose is in school, and having a network of people around me and being around a network of teachers has really helped me to understand and keep going around my why. And so I've never forgotten my why, because my network has been so important and so inspiring to what I do.
Yeah, brilliant, Rhia. Thank you so much. And I think it is really hopeful, because I think people often assume, I think, that once you leave teaching, you leave teaching. But I know a lot of people who step out for a year, 2 years, even 3 years, and almost regroup, or in some cases heal, and then come back in, but on their terms. And like you said, with a whole different skill set. Like, I'm excited to see how you'll bring the change management qualification to a school role, but also to your CIC as well. Like, it's a win-win, isn't it?
So yeah, it is. And I think growing your skills as a teacher is super important, but also recognizing your skills are transferable. That's a lot of the time when I speak to Black teachers, I think they're pigeonholed into particular roles in schools, pigeonholed into doing particular things. And it's like, your roles are super duper transferable. Like, they're superheroes. Like, you can do everything. Like, we do so many different things. And this is not for me to say, oh, you should go and even try something different. But even if you wanted to do something on the side, or you wanted to explore the different kind of skills that you've got, you're more than capable of doing it. And I'm so excited to bring change management, not just into my classroom and my classroom management, but also as a leader in teaching at the moment, as a middle leader with my team and with people that I line manage and I support and my colleagues, how we can bring that element of change management into schools, because schools are ever changing, and it's super important that they're changing in the right way and also changing at the right pace. And that's super important when you look at inclusion and diversity. It can't be done overnight. It is a change that takes time, but you have to have the right plan in place.
Yeah, I love that. And it builds on what Alana said about being the change, becoming the change, being part of the change. everyone we've heard from today has that passion, that purpose about disrupting, being that rebel, being that person to disrupt the things that are currently perhaps not being done as well as they could be done. So thank you, Rhia. Lovely to see you as always.